Hey legends, and welcome to another episode of Chat with Matt, where I talk to all sorts of people from the obstacle racing community. I speak to athletes, I speak to the people that make the gear, I speak to people who organise the races, and tonight I'm really excited to talk to a guy from over in New Zealand, an athlete called Andrew Robinson. And this crazy Kiwi is about one of the happiest people that I've ever met. And Andy ran his first Tough Mudder back in 2014, and he got bitten by the OCR bug and he ended up running in world's toughest mudder in 2016, completing 75 miles there. And in 2017, he backed it up with an 85-mile effort at world's toughest, earning him 6th place. Now, I met Andy at the OCR World Championship 24-hour enduro in Sydney, in Australia last year in 2019. And Andy ran a lazy 150 kilometres at that race in a very competitive field, earning himself 5th position. Now, I want to talk to Andy about some of the stuff that he's doing this year, including running the northburn 100 miler, including about 10,000 metres of elevation in under 30 hours in vivobarefoot running shoes, just to prove a point. So I'll bring him online just so he can tell us exactly what he's going to do there. But g'day Andy, how you going, mate?
Good, and you?
Very well. It's 6:30 here, which means it's 8:30 for you over in NZ. So hopefully I won't keep you up too late, mate.
Nah, early night sleep. Be good.
Cool. And mate, I suppose I've got to get straight into this. The northburn 100 miler.
Yep.
What's going on with that? When are you running it?
So it's next weekend. So we are, 12 days out? 11 days out. Saturday week.
Cool.
So kind of started my taper. I did a couple of runs on the weekend, and I've started to taper now, giving the legs the rest that they need so that they're ready to tackle that vert mostly.
Yep. Yeah, that's a lot of it. It's a lot of it. For anyone who's run Spartan Bright, I think the most savage beast that I've seen at Spartan Bright was about, I think, 1,200 metres. I think last year at Bright it was probably about 700 or 800 metres, the beast of vert. Probably not even. So you're going to hit about 10 times
that. Give or take, yeah.
Cool, which is crazy. And we've got a couple of people letting me know that they're live. Janelle, who's doing her first Spartan trifecta this year. Matty Probes, he backed it up with a combo at Oberon over the weekend. Nikki's letting me know she's live as well. And if you are watching live, guys, let us know with the hashtag live. Don't be a creeper. Let us know you're online. We've got a couple of people watching. If you are watching a replay later on, give me a hashtag replay. And mate, how did you get into OCR?
So I did my first Tough Mudder in it was 2013 actually, but it was just it was a fun thing to do with some colleagues at Sydney, and I didn't think twice about it. There was nothing to it. And then in 2014, so that was when I got bit by the bug. So I went to run a race with by myself. I was doing it with work colleagues,
cool.
And me being the masochist that I am, I thought, you know what, I'll do another lap before them, and then I'll join them at that. So they were going to start. I think they were going to start about 9:40. I was meant to finish my lap and I was going to start the 10 o'clock lap and then catch up to them.
Awesome.
Did my first lap, and as I was starting, there was a guy there who was looking like he was about to run by himself. So I said, look, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm running by myself. I was like, oh, cool, so am I. Why don't we run together? And he was like, yeah, sweet as. So we ended up running that whole lap together. I had a good chat with him, and I followed his story for a little while, which I'll go back into. I started my next lap at 10 o'clock as planned, and ran reasonably quickly to try and find my work crew, who it turns out they started the 10:20 lap. So I was chasing them and they were behind me.
Cool. So you didn't quite catch
them. No, I didn't catch them. I finished, and then I had to wait around and have a couple of beers whilst waiting for them. So it all worked out. But it was good fun. The guy that I did the first lap with, though, his name's Matt Ainsley. He's a good friend of mine. And
that sounds familiar.
He ran world's. He's run a number of world's toughest mudders. He ran world's toughest 2014, which was the year that I did that. Yeah, and I said one day I'll do that. It was meant to be one day in the future when I'm retired at 40, and you know how it all works. Anyway, 2015 rolls by. My partner at the time and I, we quit our jobs to travel Europe, We hitchhiked every country in Europe.
Okay.
And it was just a matter of putting our balls on the line and just getting it done. And during that trip, I said, well, if I can just quit my job and travel Europe and just live life, then there's nothing stopping me from doing World's Toughest Mudder. So I bought the ticket to World's Toughest Mudder end of 2015 and ran it 2016. And that was when I kind of, I guess I realized that I had something, not necessarily physically talent or physical talent, but definitely had mental grit and fortitude and determination to not give in to pain and suffering and push through and keep going.
Yeah, which is such a big part of the longer events, and that's more my wheelhouse. I'm not even crazy fit, to be honest, but I'm just stupid enough to keep going.
Yeah.
So I don't go fast, but I go long. And man, you've run at the OCR 24-hour enduro in June last year. You ran 150 k's, which is a fucking huge effort. Like that's a lot of running in 24 hours.
It was a fun game against myself, that one. I started that race with his name's escaped me now, Alex Burns. And I said to him, we're going to finish this first lap in last place. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, we're going to stay in last place till the end of the first lap. He's like, all right, whatever. And we're expecting to do it in about an hour 30. I think we came in at about an hour 15, which shows the pace that those top guys, Lockie and then went out at.
Yeah, that's quick.
And then it was just hunting season. Then it was just, time to just keep moving at a reasonable pace and keep going.
Yeah, and Alex pulled out of that one with digestive problems, I think, from memory. Was that race? Or was that the year before?
Might have been the year before. No, I think he kept going. I saw him a couple of times throughout it. Cool. Yeah.
Cool. And a couple more people letting us know they're live. Devon, Funzi says hi, Andy. Have you met Funzi? Have you met my...
Yeah.
Met at Bright?
We met at Bright, yeah.
Cool. Therias Baron, done 5 Spartans, done combo over the weekend. Need tips on working my way onto the Ultra. Cool. We'll definitely talk about that. What's the best tip for 100%. Increasing your mileage, man? Just one tip.
Slowly but surely.
Cool. Good advice. I'll message you after too. And Matty Probes has said, well, there you go. Pretty much the same thing. How do you build up to run that amount of distance? Sounds like you just fucking did it.
Yeah, so I bought a book. I got 2 books. I got recommended 2 books. One was Relentless Forward Progress.
Yeah.
And the second was the best title of any book ever, Never Wipe Your Ass with a Squirrel.
Okay.
And they were both ultra running trail books. Relentless Forward Progress had a training program in it, which I just followed very roughly. And basically just did... I never really did more than 80 Ks a week, but I also kind of pushed that in with a bit of CrossFit and a bit of rock climbing and that sort of stuff, and just gradually 2 or 3 Ks a week increasing your mileage. And I mean, you should never, unless you're an absolute masochist, go for an ultra and do it in a couple of weeks. But if you can plan an ultra 4 or 5 months in advance, and as long as you keep moving and listen to your body and recover well enough and not get injured, you'll be fine.
Definitely. Cool. And I've just punched both of those books into the comments in case anyone wants to look up Never Wipe Your Ass with a Squirrel. What's the reason for the name of that book? That's odd. I actually think I've heard of it before.
I think it's just it's a very light-hearted do's and don'ts of ultra trail running.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I might look it up. And Adrian Mannix, let me know he's live. He runs pretty long too. He just did the Hurt 100 in Hawaii. So
yeah, that's a fellow. I think that might even be a 10,000 meter as well, potentially.
I think it's savage, like properly savage.
It hurts.
Yeah, aptly named. And Christine's letting me know she's live as well. So you got started back then. Obviously, got bitten by the bug. How much has it changed your life? Changed your life, I should say. What did life look like before compared to now?
Life looked like 60 hours a week working in sales, marketing, fundraising, with an hour maybe an hour a day, 4 or 5 days a week, going to the gym to look good. and now it's flipped itself on its head, and it's 10 to 15 hours a week in the trails, still 4 or 5 hours a week in the gym, and 25, 30 hours a week actual hard work, I guess.
Cool.
As in hard work to pay the bills.
Yeah. Cool. And what's next? Where are you looking to go? Well, let's talk about Northburn. We did sort of touch on it because that's coming up very, very shortly.
Yep.
And as I did mention before, let's first talk about why you're running a 100-mile race in barefoot Vivo, in Vivo barefoot shoes. How did that come about?
So I've always been quite a minimalistic runner. I've always used Innovate, maximum kind of 4 mil, maybe stretched into a 6 mil drop.
Cool.
I try to keep the cushioning as low as possible. If it's got a rock plate in it, I generally go for a half rock plate. So I'm not sponsored by Vivo or anything like that. I'm not an advocate of any particular shoe. I'm just an advocate of minimalist running, and the reason being is because you hear all these things about shin splints and plantar fasciitis and all these sorts of things, and there's just all of these problems that runners are getting. And you look way back to when shoes kind of first started, running shoes first started, and all these problems started happening was because people were walking around in dress shoes, and dress shoes have obviously got a little bit of a heel on them. As soon as they start running marathon distances, that shortness in the Achilles is going to play a big problem. So Nike stepped in and said, we've got an idea, why don't we make a running shoe with a little lift in it, which was genius at the time. But now they just keep adding things on and just putting more and more and more and more band-aids on, as opposed to just ripping all the band-aids off and saying, let's figure this out and start from scratch. Obviously, book Born to Run by Christopher McDougall kind of claims that we are born to run. And I mean, if you look at kids running barefoot in the grass, you look at, a 10-year-old running on the field, it's a pretty aesthetic thing to watch. They just do it.
Watch a toddler squat.
Oh,
the fucking form's perfect.
I am never letting my kid stop squatting. Like that, I'm not even going to have chairs in my house. We're just going to eat dinner sitting on the floor. It's going to be perfect.
Shoveling, squatting in a deep squat.
Absolutely, if I could.
Yeah, but all the bad habits are learned, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've kind of I went straight into minimalist running. Innovate, as I say, started my first couple of World's Toughest with Innovate. I ran OCR Enduro last year with Salming, which they were a good shoe. Yeah. But as I've got more and more passionate about barefoot running, I've gone literally to bare feet. Do a lot of running in bare feet. Obviously, 100 miles on four-wheel drive track and sheep track is in bare feet is not going to work. But if I can be as close to as possible, so that's why the Vivo barefoot kind of came about, and I started practicing with them and started really enjoying running in them. And I helped Terry Davis, the race director, out with a couple of races, so he invited me to do Northburn, and I said, yeah, absolutely, let's give it a shot. And I sent him a message and I said, hey, what do you reckon the chances of someone doing Northburn in under 30 hours are? And he just messaged back and he said 0. So I texted him pretty simply. I said, challenge accepted. So
yeah, cool.
Him and I just got a bit of banter going on at the moment.
Cool. Is there anything at stake? Is there a carton on it?
Pride.
Just pride.
Just pure pride. Yeah.
The stupidest thing to bet on.
He claims his race is the toughest in the Southern Hemisphere, and I want to make it look easy.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. And mate, I wholeheartedly agree with the barefoot thing. We lock our feet into little fucking boxes, and they're not supposed to be in boxes. Your toes are supposed to move. Yep. I got my first pair of Vibram 5 fingers from Maxia Barefoot Inc. A little while ago, and I love them. But for ages, probably for years now, like I've been even when I was a face-to-face PT in the gym, the owner of the gym was always like, "Can you put your fucking shoes on, please?" I'm like, "No, I just like being barefoot. It feels better." And after like I'd have a race, I'd have a Spartan Beast or something, and for the next week in the gym, I wouldn't be wearing shoes, and it'd just sort of settle everything up. So yeah. But
my gym have asked me to sign a waiver just to say that if I injure my feet, I don't wear shoes in the gym. Perfect. So I've had to sign a waiver with them.
Perfect. The gym I'm training at now, because I'm just training there as a client, right? So I don't have a lot of sway. So I've had to wear the the Vibrams to kickboxing classes because they're like, you can't take your shoes off. I'm like, it's kickboxing. You're supposed to do it without fucking shoes anyway. But,
no, you don't. Conor McGregor doesn't wear shoes in the ring.
Yeah, I'm like, I used to do Muay Thai. Like, you don't wear shoes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Nah, it's cool. But for a lot of people that are listening, a lot of people that are watching, they might not know much about barefoot, and they might have worn shoes their whole fucking life. They might have some posture problems, and they've had orthotics made and put in their shoes, and they're walking around with fucking crazy arch support and shit. And if they go barefoot tomorrow, they're probably going to have problems. So how does one do that? How does one do that, in an intelligent way without creating more problems?
The easiest way to answer that would be to speak to a professional.
Cool. I'm
an advocate. Yeah. Cool. I'm an advocate. I'm passionate about it. I've done a lot of research on it, but I'm by no means professional.
Cool.
I've actually got a podiatrist, physiotherapist. Ironically, his name's Chris Soul.
Okay.
Just to top it off. So he used to run track and field for South Africa back in the 70s, and he's barefoot in the mountains. He's literally bare feet, but he's been helping me just kind of fine tune a few things. But in regards to going barefoot, I'd probably recommend jumping on there's a website for Australia, Sole Distribution. So they have a lot of information.
Is that SOLE?
Yeah, SOLE. So they're based in Melbourne. They've got a store just south of St Kilda. I can't remember what that was where I got my first pair of Vivos from.
Cool.
And they were really helpful. They asked a whole lot of questions. They wanted to know what I wanted to do with them. They wanted to make sure that I was comfortable jumping straight into barefoot shoes. If I'd walked in with Hockers or Nikes or something like that, they probably would have recommended I go for the Nike Free or the New Balance Minimus and work my way down as opposed to going
taper in.
100%. Going from Hocker or these Nike Next Percents to barefoot is like going from running 10Ks a week to 100Ks a week and expecting not to hurt yourself. Yeah. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, cool. Maxi at Barefoot Inc. If anyone's in Sydney, Central Coast, Maxi at Barefoot Inc. is amazing as well. He does stock the Vivos or the Vibrams, and an absolute legend. I'll try and get him on the show, actually. So
yeah, I'd be interested to hear that.
So what does your standard training week look like? You did say that you were probably spending 10-15 hours a week on the trails, maybe 5 hours in the gym. What are we looking like week to week?
I get asked that question so often, and I don't have a training plan. I love what I do, and I do what I love. So I'll generally set a goal the day before with an intention. So I'll go to the gym, and it depends. Obviously, there's so many different things which help with obstacle course racing, and that's the true beauty, and that's the thing that I love absolutely most about obstacle racing is that other than running, you don't really have to be great at anything to be a really good obstacle course racer. You could be a yogi or a CrossFitter or a gymnast or a calisthenics person, as long as you can run reasonably well, because the majority of OCR is running.
Yeah.
Do what you love.
Yeah.
So,
bang on.
There are specifics. There are monkey bars and those sorts of things. And I've had conversations with people who say, to do 75 miles at World's Toughest Mudder, you need to do 20 pull-ups, or you need to have a 3-minute dead hang. I'm like, if you're doing pull-ups or dead hanging on bars, you're not racing correctly. Like, you're meant to be going forward. So there are specifics, and obviously dead hangs and pull-ups are definitely going to help. But so my general weekends are Saturday would generally be 3 or 4 hours on my feet in the mountains, and I love doing the park run. It's a good little community, so I'll go down and do a 5K down there.
Awesome.
And then I'll go out and I'll do a 20 or 30K trail on a Saturday afternoon. Sunday morning I'll generally do a bit of yoga down at the local Lululemon. They do a free complimentary yoga. I think most Lululemons do it. So
awesome.
And then Sunday afternoon I might go for a swim or a bike ride or a kayak or just chill out or a little run.
So just cross training, I'm hearing, mate. You're just active. You just do a whole lot of different things. And just keep moving, which is cool. And I
exactly.
I'm inclined to agree. about OCR, you don't have to be a an absolute genius at anything in particular to be quite good at it. And you do see people from a lot of different disciplines. You see martial artists who are very good. You see my partner's an ex-gymnast, and grip strength is fucking awesome. She just smashes grip strength obstacles. Surfers, good balance. And like, I guess a lot of the training I do is sort of similar to you. I think once you get to a certain point, once you get to a certain fitness level, you're just sort of maintaining it. As long as you're doing the running. But I'll do a race. I came off the rings at Spartan Oberon. We'd just come out of a dam, and I reached for the ring and just hit it with the back of my hand as I was going for it, and it just wasn't where I needed it to be. But my grip strength isn't as good as what it was 6 months ago. So I'm like, okay, that's slipped a little bit. So I've got to do a little bit of grip work now. So you sort of just maintain, if you do a race and you're like, fuck, the grip's not where it needs to be, then I'm going to do some really targeted grip strength. But, but if I know
there's the maintenance, but just to go back to weekly, so obviously that's what I do on a weekend. There is the maintenance 100%, but there's always, the thing is so many people are so good at bench press or so good at squats or so good at sprinting or something like that, they don't want to work on their weaknesses, and that's my weekends are for maintenance, and I'll do long distances in the weekends, but my weeks are purely for working on weaknesses. So I know that my weakness is speed, without a doubt. Like I'm running 19:13 5K, which is great in the grand scheme of things, but when you compare it to the likes of Liam McKenzie and Josh Perizzello, they're running 1:24 half marathons, and I mean Ryan Atkins has a 14:51 5K. It's just like it doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? So
quick.
I'm not expecting to ever have to run 17:30, and it's not going to make a huge difference. But 19's too slow for what I want to achieve. So at the moment, I'm working on getting down to kind of maybe a low 18s kind of thing, and once I'm there, then I can just maintain that and then work on the next weakness.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So that answers that. Cool. What's your taper look like for a 100-mile race? What's your taper protocol?
So I'll generally half my mileage 2 weeks before, and then I'll halve it again the week before. So, I mean, as I say, my weekly mileage is generally around 80 Ks. It's pretty slow, but it involves quite a bit of vert as well. I live in Queenstown, so it's pretty hard to go for a run without getting quite a bit of vert. Actually had a friend do a half marathon last weekend, and she did 240 meters of climbing on a half marathon, 240 meters of vert. Someone said, "Oh, that's a good time for those hills," and I just felt like commenting, "Which hills?"
Yeah, that's
a flat run for Queenstown. And not to take away, she did an absolute phenomenal time, and it was very inspiring. But it was just a bit of a laugh. So, but yeah, no, a lot of vert, at least a couple of Ks a week of vert, over an 80K run. And then, so 2 weeks before, I'll do about 40 Ks, and that'll be kind of 3 or 4 10Ks and maybe a 15 or 20K. And then the week before, I'll only do 20, maybe 25 Ks, and I'll just do maybe a 10K and 2 5Ks. And I'll always run the day before, so I'll rest on the Thursday, go for a nice little 3 or 4 Ks on the Friday just to roll the legs out, just do a little pickup, a couple of 500-meter pickups. Nothing record breaking, but just something to get the body moving. So that Saturday morning, come race day, or come adventure day in this case, the legs are ready to go.
Yeah, cool. And obviously that taper changes depending on the distance that you're running too. Like if you've got a 21K race coming up, you're going to taper a little bit less. It's not going to be as intense as the 100 fucking miler.
100%, yeah.
So, and Matty Probes has just said, what goes through your head when running that distance? You commented you've got a really strong mental game. What keeps that grit in place?
Rocky on repeat.
Rocky.
It ain't about how hard you hit. No, there's a lot of things. It's I try to have as much fun as possible. Especially, I mean, the thing that I love about OCR and the endurance OCR is that it's a loop. So I'll often spend a lot of time, well, not a lot of time, but I'll spend maybe 30 seconds with somebody, have a chat, give them a high five, and then run off to the next person. And I think building other people up, it's almost a selfish act. It gives me a lot of energy as well.
I feel you, man. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I talk to
Yeah.
hug people and chat to people and talk
Yeah.
to volleys, and yeah, it
Yeah.
is a little bit self-feeding because it makes me feel better. You forget about your
think so.
suffering.
Yeah, I've seen with 100 grand on the line, Ryan Atkins and John Albin run up Everest, turn around to pull somebody else up, and I'm like, with 100 grand on the line, there's so many things that could go wrong with that. I mean, you pull a shoulder, you're out. Even just the time, those sorts of things. But it's just that, you know, if you see those kind of guys doing it, there's no excuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely.
As for Miler, the course is quite different. So a lot of it's just kind of thinking about what I'm going to eat, and it's
just like when you finish, or like during the race. So.
It's just in general,
just like,
you know, like
burger.
Yeah, just whatever. I don't know what I'm looking forward to. If it's going to be pickles or the sleep that I'm going to have, or you know, it's quite funny. I watched. Have you heard of Ross Edgley?
Yes, he does some crazy shit. That man.
Yeah. So I swam around Great Britain. Everyone's like, "Oh, what motivates you?" kind of thing. And he's like, they're like, "Oh, family and all these sorts of things." He's like, "No, just getting out of the water and just getting some sleep and eating some food." And I feel like, you know, like you just become so primal. Like it just kind of takes you back to basis. And there are these motivating factors and you know, but I mean, realistically, what actually. I've got a sign here. I don't know if I should bring it up now, but I'm not a huge advocate of motivation.
You can definitely bring it up.
What I live by.
Fuck motivation. What does that mean, man?
So for me, I read something a long time ago which basically said motivation is fleeting, comes and goes,
100%.
It's unreliable,
100%.
You can't rely on it.
100%.
Whereas discipline's something that you can really rely on. So
yep.
I know that what's going to come of the other side of that suffering. I know that at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, when it's 0 degrees Celsius and pissing down with rain and freezing cold, if I can push through that and I can be disciplined enough to get to the other side of it, when it's 2 degrees and it's spitting a little bit and I'm trying to work and I'm going, this is hard, I'm going to look back at that time and go, no, it's not that hard. That's what is motivating.
Yeah.
For better choice of words.
Gives you a point of reference. So you sort of got that suffering later on. This is why I'm such a big advocate for hurricane heats. Because you do a hurricane. Have you done a Spartan hurricane heat?
I haven't. No. Bright was my first Spartan.
Oh yeah. You had you did tell me that. And you just went straight into an ultra.
Just
straight in, no
which
kissing.
Is ironically my shortest race.
And you had a cracking hat on too, which I've noticed is a bit of a trend.
I like the hats. Yeah.
It's cool. I'll see if I can dig a photo out of your Spartan Bright hat.
I could probably put it on.
Yeah, let's play dress ups.
Which side do you want? Do you want the yellow side, or do you want the pink flowery side?
But both sides were good. It's just a cracking hat all around.
Go for the yellow side. There we go.
I like character like that. You've definitely got character, which I like. I'm inclined to wear some pretty weird fucking things on occasion. And,
I've seen.
I like that.
Some pineapples and less.
And I think, mate, that's why we get along. You're a character, and you're a very optimistic and happy person. You know, you just always got a smile. You've always got a kind word. You're very encouraging when I've seen you on courses. You're usually a fair bit ahead of me, but I think you lapped me a few times at the OCR World Championships, and we exchanged words a few times.
What? Yeah, everybody was lapping everybody, weren't they? I mean, I got lapped a couple of times as well, so it's all relative.
I don't remember lapping anyone.
Yeah. But touché.
But what keeps you so happy, mate? Why are you so optimistic?
I guess there's just not any point in being sad. I mean, I do a lot of gratitude, and don't get me wrong, I have times which are rough. This is perfect time to put this hat on, actually, just to lighten the mood. No, there are times that are hard. I mean, even the last couple of weeks, I was mentioning to you before, it's been stressful, ironically, just because there's been a whole lot of great things which have lined up, and they've just put a lot of pressure on, and because of that, I've had a lot less energy, and because of that, I've done less work, and I get paid on commissions, so that's led to a little bit less money, which has obviously led to a bit of stress and those sorts of things. But when you break it down, anybody who's watching this video lives a pretty good life because they're watching this video. They're on a computer or they're on their phone.
Yeah, watching a Facebook Live, you've probably got it better than a lot of people.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just about breaking that down and being grateful for what you've got. You know what I mean? And it's, if you've got a couple of friends and you've got a roof over your head and you've got a cup of tea, then you're doing all right.
And I did see your tea. What's the tea you're drinking? You said it's delicious.
It's just a relaxing tea. I think it's got some licorice root and some fennel potentially. I'm not exactly sure.
Some aniseed?
Potentially, yeah, something of the sort. But
cool.
I guess actually, now that I mention all of that, obviously, having that roof over your head and it being warm enough to get a good night's sleep, and have a cup of tea. You can really appreciate those things after having suffered in 0 degrees at 4 o'clock in the morning, getting blasted by fire hoses in the Las Vegas.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. That's what I say to people. Like when you do a race and you push through and you overcome that adversity of your own choosing, when the shit happens unexpectedly, when you get a tough deadline at work or you're having a hard day or something stresses you out, you've got that reference point. You can go, is this as hard as that fucking thing that I did by choice on the weekend and lived through?
Yeah, 100%.
And it's a good thing. And talking about, how do you keep your head in the game while you're running? You said, what'd you say? You said you just have Rocky on repeat. Do you ever get, I get it heaps, like you'll get an earworm. Have you heard that term? When you get like a certain song, like a chorus of a song or something, stuck on fucking repeat for 10 kilometers.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
because I thought that was just
when I said the Rocky on repeat, I mean, every obstacle race that I have done, there's no doubt about it, Rocky's coming to me. There'll be an obstacle, there'll be someone suffering, and I've just shouted, it ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. Like, I haven't even seen Rocky, but I just know that.
You just know the quotes.
Know that. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's probably the only thing which keeps coming, which has been consistent across all races that I've done.
So that's like
one.
That's like your mantra.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of ideal as well because it's so true. I mean, unless you are Lockie Dainsey or Ryan Atkins or something like that, like it is about. I mean, those guys are who's Rocky's opposition. Those guys are that guy who is the winner. But I mean, I feel as long as we can suffer enough to keep moving forward, then we can kind of keep up with them to a certain extent and keep face.
Yeah, awesome. What makes you push your boundaries? What makes you what drives you to put yourself through the pain that is involved in running a 100-mile race in 30 hours with barefoot shoes?
Just being a better version of myself.
Cool.
Absolutely. And inspiring other people to be better versions of themselves as well, I guess. I mean, it's like you look at Ross Edgley and David Goggins and those sorts of people, and there's absolute masochism, which is almost to the point of stupidity. I mean, Goggins running milers on broken feet, it's like, wouldn't recommend that to anybody. But at the same time, you need those 1 in a billion people to just kind of raise that bar so high that you're just like, okay, well, if he can run a miler on broken feet, I'm pretty sure I can run a miler on bare feet. It's like... Yeah.
That's why I run in costumes. That's why I run in like Spartan armor and shit. Because I have people every single fucking day tell me why they can't run a Spartan race.
Yeah.
I'm like, I run it in a metal suit of armor. Like,
if
I can do that shit, you can do it.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
it's just raising that bar just a little bit. And I mean, if everybody raises the bar, it's almost like we're not even raising the ceiling, we're just raising the floor a little bit. And if everybody can just kind of step up a little bit and just get out there and move, and it doesn't have to be an obstacle race, just doing some yoga or doing some slacklining or just getting off the couch and just going for a walk. If it makes you feel better and it makes you a better version of yourself,
definitely
you're winning.
Definitely. And getting out of your comfort zone is such a big one. I've seen
Yeah.
so many people's lives change in such amazing fucking ways after they have started to push their limits. And you can get very pinpoint and push your limits in a very focused way with the OCR events, but watch how it spreads out to every other aspect, and it's fucking incredible. And Miranda just asked, I'd love to know why you do what you do, what excites you most about it, and I think we did just sort of cover that. It sounds like
There's that, and then there's obviously, being the best version of myself and inspiring other people to be the best versions of themselves. But it's also I suppose that to come back to the suffering kind of thing, like you become the best version of yourself when you get through suffering, when you solve a couple of problems and you figure stuff out. That's when you start to really realize what your potential is.
Yeah. And you have, well, I certainly have, when I've run races like your 24-hour races in the middle of the night, or your 12-hour endurance races, and you're fucking 10 hours in and you're hurting pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
You do have those moments where your brain just goes to really weird places and you learn some shit about yourself and you go, wow, I really was a dick to that ex-girlfriend 2 years ago. I should probably apologise.
Yeah.
You fucking grow.
Yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
is really cool. And Nat's just said, love it. Thanks, Matt. She said, you're a little bit burnt. I am. I fucking got roasted at Oberon because it was like cloudy and overcast and high altitude, well, a little bit of altitude. So the UV was just savage. Like, it wasn't so hot, but I'm like losing skin like a lizard. It's disgusting.
I'd call it a tan.
It's a tan. It's a tan. I don't know what it'll be tomorrow. Adrian Mannix, he said, this is awesome, love it. You're getting a bit of love, man. Getting a bit of love. Nat's dropped about 14 fucking comments.
Thanks, guys.
Here. I'm just going to scroll through in one sec. First event was Bright. He said, you're a crazy fucker.
I'll take it.
Wear anything. Nat's just, I don't know. Nat's writing a lot of comments. Matty Probes has said, my favourite Rocky quote. I think it's everyone's favourite Rocky quote. It's the quote.
Without a doubt.
Miranda said she got roasted as well. Maddie said he got roasted as well. There's some epic posts in the Spartans of Australia group of just people with Spartan headbands. And I actually stopped at stopped at Macca's on the way back on the Saturday at the Blue Mountains, and there was like 10 Spartans there, and they all had headband tans. It was fantastic.
They should have made them stencils and made them like the black but instead of having the white Spartan,
like have the cutout in the middle.
Cut out.
Free marketing for the
Monday,
next 3 weeks.
You don't even need a headband. Got Spartan tanned, sunburnt into your forehead.
Perfect. I reckon that's a good idea.
I'll sell that to Josefina.
Do it. And mate, what's the next one? What's the next thing I wanted to ask you? Is let's talk nutrition, because a lot of people struggle with nutrition. A lot of people, when they start to run distance, struggle with nutrition because obviously your digestion starts to shut down, and you're plant-based.
Yeah. So I have been for 5 years, and it's okay. I won't get all preachy on you. I started out in CrossFit about 6 years ago and did a lot of CrossFit.
You're a fucking vegan CrossFitter.
So do you remember when that meme came out, which said when a vegan does CrossFit, what do they talk about first?
Yeah.
I was a vegan doing CrossFit when that meme came out, so it was perfect.
Cool.
But I started to experiment with my diet basically. So I started off just solid meat, went keto and I did each diet for at least 2 months, and the reason being is people try these diets for a week, and I'm like, you're not going to get any results, but you're not going to see anything out of a week or two as well. So I did each diet for a couple of months, and I spent about a year experimenting with different diets. So I spent a couple of months on keto. I didn't test ketosis or anything like that, but I just ate as much meat as I could, I guess. Then I went paleo. Went paleo and just kind of experimented through to veganism. So pescatarian, pesco paleo, which is like chicken, fish, pescatarian, vegetarian, and then strictly vegan. And it was really interesting because obviously everybody's different, but for my body, when I was eating, especially paleo, I could lift. It was when I lifted the most amount of weight. So I was deadlifting 180, squatting 155, and benching 110. I think I kind of peaked at. And I was like, cool, but I couldn't move my body very efficiently. Like I wasn't able to do
a bit more sluggish. And
yeah. So I was like, that's interesting. And then when I went vegan, my lifts, they didn't drop much. Like I might have lost 5 kilo on each major lift, but my ability to do gymnastics movements, like muscle ups, I just felt so much lighter. I just started kind of floating over the bar on muscle ups and that sort of stuff. So I went back to eating like a normal diet because I wasn't really thinking too much of it. But then when I started obstacle course racing, I thought back to all of that experimentation that I'd done, and I was like, well, hang on a second. I don't need to lift a huge amount of weight. I might need to pick up some 25 kilo dumbbells occasionally or some sandbags or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're not, it's not a 180 kilo deadlift. But I do need to be able to move my body as efficiently as possible. So I was like, with all of that testing, the plant-based diet just made the most amount of sense. So the last 4 years I was, the last year I've been strictly vegan, but the 4 years before that I was basically pescatarian. It was vegan, but I had a bit of salmon and a little bit of blue cheese just because they're both magnificent things to eat.
Yes, agreed.
You can tell I'm not the best advocate for veganism, other than the fact that it doesn't affect.
No, look, there's two kinds of vegans usually, maybe 3 kinds. Maybe the third kind's going to get me into trouble. There's the people who are doing it for ethical reasons. Power to them. There's also the people who, like yourself, have tried a few different things, have eaten it, and just feel fucking better and perform better. And they swear that the energy's cleaner and they fucking perform better. So if you put premium fuel in your car and it fucking runs better, and then you go back to E10 and it runs like shit, which one would you do? You do
Toyota.
You do be a Toyota. Hey, you read my blogs. So that's the second kind, and then you've got the third kind who are just fucking retards.
Preachers. Anyway, I saw a guy with a shirt the other day that said "Friends, not food," and I was like, "Legend, come join us for dinner." And there was 4, so it turns out 4 of us were vegan at the table. One was a meat eater, but I knew him, and he eats meat a couple of times a week. Anyway, this other guy started preaching to him, and I was like, oh no, here we go. But anyway, I digress. I mean, the ethics and the sustainability are definitely factors in it, but for racing, I think, I highly recommend everybody take it with a grain of salt and just experiment with what they're eating. And this is, going back to obviously the fact that we're talking to a lot of people. Try what works best for you. Experiment. Obviously, whole foods, 100%. As many plants as possible, 100%. And if you speak to a lot of the top athletes in the world, both of those things are going to come into conversation. I did a post about a year ago, and it basically said, look, jury's out. And if you look at all of the major diet groups, keto or paleo or vegan or pescatarian or whatever it is, they all come back to 2 things, and refined sugar and processed foods
Very bad.
shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you eat good, healthy, whole foods and a heap of vegetables and fruit, you should be a pretty good version of yourself.
As many different colours of vegetables and fruit as you can get all the good shit. And cool, mate. Look, that's probably the best way that I've heard of people going about it. They've just experimented and found that that's what works best for them. I actually just read I've just finished a book by Ben Angel called Unstoppable, and he talks about, he's like a big biohacker and talks about how to biohack and talks about different diets and finding the right thing that's right for you. But it's about experimenting and finding there isn't no one fucking miracle that's going to be right for everyone. It's finding what is the thing that's going to be perfect for you. But if you find that, you'll fucking elevate. So. Yeah.
I think if we look at a general population consensus, like if we had to prescribe one diet to the entire human population that would give everybody the most positive benefits, I think a whole food plant-based diet would be, if I just had to be general. But like I say, I mean, everybody feel like even starting off on that, and just even if you have a steak a week or a chicken a week, or like I said, salmon and some blue cheese, go crazy. But I think if somebody said what's the best diet, and I had to, gun to head, I would say a whole food plant based diet.
Cool. How much? Because you've said obviously you love salmon and blue cheese. How much? If you were to eat it, if you were to just eat salmon, would you noticeably feel shit afterwards?
I don't think so. I mean, I can't wrap my head around it anymore. It's like when you stop eating for something for so long, it's just, or you stop doing something for so long for so many reasons, and they're all intrinsic motivators. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing as well that I guess I should bring into conversation is a lot of everything I do is intrinsically motivated. There's no external motivation. I mean, I used to want to get up on stage and do a bodybuilding show, but I'd spend a month preparing for it, and then I'd just fall off the wagon, and then I'd want to do something else, and I'd spend a month preparing for it, and then I'd fall off the wagon. I kind of always wondered what was happening, and if I've noticed that anything that's externally motivated, anything that's, I want to look good, or I want to be on the podium or anything like that, it's all externally motivated, and I can work hard at something that's externally motivated for about a month.
Yeah.
But if it's intrinsically motivated, I mean, 100 miles at World's Toughest Mudder, that's been going on for the end of this year. Have gone on for 5 years now. You know what I mean? So there's no external motivators that could keep someone going at something for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's purely intrinsic. So just to relate that back to the diet, I just couldn't eat salmon because there's just too many intrinsic motivators which would hold me back from doing it.
Yep. And this is finding your purpose, finding your why. This is what people talk about. If you can find a reason for doing what you're doing. I had a talk with somebody the other day and talking about getting fit, and sort of said, if you can attach it to a bigger meaning, if you can attach it to something that means something to you. Like I love obstacle racing for what it is, and it builds my brand, and by building the brand I can affect more people and get more people in and affect more lives, and it's all sort of self-feeding. So it's all sort of this one purpose. And it was just after I'd done a yin yoga class. It might have been on Sunday. So I'd just finished a beast and a sprint on the Saturday, and then I did a hurricane heat on the Sunday, and then got home from Oberon. So I've driven like 2.5 hours each way each day. Literally got home, 45 minutes later I'm doing a yin yoga class. And if you know yin, it's like long held poses where you hold for 5 minutes and getting into the deep connective tissue. And
I did a 3-hour yin yoga session on Sunday afternoon.
Perfect. So it fucking hurts a bit, and if you've just run some big Ks, it's gonna hurt. I've also got like ADHD to fuck, right? So for me to sit still in a room for an hour is like it's like hell. Mm-hmm. So I came out of the class, in sort of long way to say this story. I came out of the class and a woman said, "Oh, how was that?" And I said, "Fuck, it was a bit of hell actually." Like, she's like, "Oh, why do you do it?" I said, "Because it's all part of the big thing. This makes me not be injured. This means I can recover. This means I can run again next weekend, which means I can keep going with my purpose. That's my fucking passion." So that can draw you and get you to do things that you wouldn't normally do when the motivation's not there. If you're purpose driven, if you're intrinsically motivated, it'll keep you on track when the wheels are falling off.
Discipline versus motivation.
Bang on. I think motivation's important to get things started, but you need to create and I guess prolong and extend the motivation for as long as you can until the habits have taken form.
I think just to carry on that, motivation is amazing. Ride the highs. When you've got the motivation, absolutely go for it. Put your foot down and use it to maximize what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
When you don't have the motivation, that's when you need to bring in the discipline.
Yeah, cool. And habits. If your habits are in place, it's sweet. When what do they say? You're in an emergency. You're going to revert to your least level of training.
Okay.
Your most basic level of training. So that's where they say emergency responders and police and army and stuff. It's an army term, I think, and it's basically when the bullets are fucking flying over your head, you're gonna revert to your lowest level of training. And your habits are like that. If you've got really good habits in place, and your fucking house just burns down and you get sacked from your job, if you've got good habits, you'll be right.
Yeah.
Brad's just said, while we are talking about nutrition, do you get cramps running those distances?
Ironically, I haven't had cramps running the 24s. I cramped to hell running Bright Spartans. So I think I've always run my own race, and this goes back to the intrinsic versus the extrinsic as well. So I came to Bright with something to prove. I felt like I had something to prove, and it was my first Spartan. I was like, yeah, I'm running against some of the top guys, and so I was like, cool, I'm just gonna, like, I'm used to these 24-hour races. Like, if I can do 85 miles in 24 hours, and I can do it 50k without a doubt. You know what I mean? Especially with 2,500 meters of vert, like, it's like it's a weekend jog for me kind of thing. So I went out hot, and I was climbing the first mountain with Quentin Gill,
the fucking Gilly goat.
So I knew who he was, but I didn't really know. Anyway, because normally I start at the back of the pack, and then I try to catch everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm climbing this mountain with him. We must have been in 4th and 5th or something like that. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, half of me is like, cool, I'm on the mountains. This is where I live. This is what I do.
Mm.
But at the same time, I'm currently sitting next to one of the top 3 obstacle races in Australasia.
Mm.
Perhaps I've gone out a little bit hot. You know what I mean?
So right, you didn't run your race?
I didn't, no. So I was like, fuck it, you know what, let's commit. I had 2 goals. One was to come in, get a leader's bib at halftime. The other one was to finish in the top 10. So I was like, the other one was actually finish on the podium was the goal. But anyway, came in 6th place at the podium, at the halfway mark, but I was starting to cramp there.
Strong field. Lockie passed me at the last barbed wire crawl. So that was like 100 metres before the line. So he passed me, and I was still doing my first fucking lap. So I'd done the 8 hour, the 8 kilometre loop and the first beast, and I was just finishing that, and he's just passing me. And I'm like,
that was just over 6 hours then.
Like 6 hours, 6 minutes or something fucking mental. And I'm like, man, can you just wait? Can I just finish my first fucking lap before you pass me? Like, please. Yeah. So
those guys are beasts.
Man, absolutely.
So yeah. But so in answer to your question, was it Brendan, was it? So
Brad McQueen.
Brad, in answer to your question, absolutely, I cramp. I've learnt my lesson. I will have salt tabs and those sorts of things. I do consume a lot of, especially in the 24-hour races, I consume as much real food as possible, a lot of coconut water, a little bit of salt tabs, a little bit of tailwind, those sorts of things. I try to keep on top of everything, and I haven't had any cramps because I've never really gone out hot enough to need them. And races that I have gone out hot enough, other than Spartan Bright, they've been short enough to be able to hold on to. So my goal at the moment for, going back to Brad's question, is to figure out how I can race a 50k as efficiently as possible.
Okay, cool. And you mentioned tailwind there. What's your go-to for getting nutrition in? Because you're burning a lot of calories when you are running these races. Do you have
in a 24?
Yeah, say a long endurance. Say the northburn. What's your food strategy? What's your nutrition
real
strategy
food?
there?
Absolutely, a couple of bananas, some boiled potatoes.
Cool.
I had a weird craving. I'll have everything ready. So I love some of my weekend adventures. I went out for an adventure 2 weeks ago, and there was 5 mountains that I was going to climb in 2 days. And I basically got a big chili bin and made like a fruit smoothie with a whole lot of different fruits, and then a chocolate smoothie with some soy milk and a whole lot of dark chocolate and peanut butter.
Nice.
Boiled some potatoes. I made a chili, made a stir fry, made a burrito.
Nice.
I just filled this chili bin. Sorry for you Australians. Filled this esky with food. Threw it in the back of my car and just went and started climbing. Like, climbed up the mountain, came back down, came to the car, just ate what I felt like eating. At OCR Enduro, I came in at midnight, must have been around midnight, and I was craving spinach. And I remember some people, because they were like, what do you want? And I was like, spinach. If anyone's got spinach. And luckily Morgan McKay had some spinach. I remember she was making some salads, so I was like, ask Brett if he's got some spinach. And I ended up just eating it straight out of the bag. I was loving it. So in answer to your question, real food, a little bit of tailwind, and a few Cliff Bars, that sort of stuff. For
I love Cliff
on
Bars.
the trail, yeah. For on the trail, I'll have a couple of Cliff Bars, but obviously I want to keep the pack as light as possible. And then I just try to eat as much as possible when I'm in transition.
Cool.
I practice a bit of intermittent fasting, which enables my body to be able to take the food, hold on to it, and use it when it's needed, I guess.
Yeah, awesome.
And that's just 16/8, so it's nothing impressive, but just something else that I've practiced to implement in racing.
I'm just about to go back to it. I used to 16/8 and then 2 days. So I do like a 5 and 2. So like 2 days of the week, I basically wouldn't eat. I'd maybe have 2 black coffees in the morning.
Yeah.
And then unless I'm really fucking dying of an afternoon or like an evening, I might have like a Cliff Bar or something. But I'd basically go 2 days a week where I basically don't eat. And then on the other 5, I can be a lot more relaxed, but I'll still try to do like a 16/8 on those days. Yeah. Except for the days after I break the fast. Then I have like a nice breakfast.
Yeah, pretty feed.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I want to get back to it because I used to feel so good, and I just sort of dropped off it. And obviously the weight sort of pops back up again. So is that something that you do regularly? 16 and 8?
I try to do as often as possible. So, I mean, when I do 16/8, I normally, like, for example, today I had my last meal about 4:30, but I'll have my first meal about 9. So, try to eat in the middle of the day, and obviously, you know, just nice cup of tea to finish, and maybe a black coffee to start. But I try to eat the calories in the middle of the day. I notice I get a better sleep, or I have noticed in the past that I've got better sleep if I don't eat too close to bed, which is obviously pretty handy.
Yeah, which is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if I can get to bed around 9:30, get up at 7, then I'm a winner.
Yeah. And for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, 16/8 intermittent fasting. It's not a diet; it's an eating protocol. So you're not really changing the what; you're changing the when. And you're giving yourself a window when you can consume your calories, and then a time when you're fasting. And I've heard people say fasting's not good for you. You fast when you're fucking asleep. So that's bullshit. So if you give yourself, say, a 16/8 protocol, you're going to go 16 hours of the day where you're not consuming any calories, and then for 8 hours you're eating. And what happens is a lot of people, and the reason this is so good for weight management, a lot of people eat until they're full, and then they go 2 hours and then they eat again until they're full, and then they go 2 hours and they eat again until they're full. And if you do this for 12, 14, 16 hours of the day, compared to if you can only eat until you're full for 8 hours of the day, you're going to consume less calories over the course of a day. So that's just as a management, like a calorie management strategy if you're trying to lose weight. It's a very, very effective protocol, and pretty much anyone can follow it. It does take a little bit of getting used to. You may get a little bit moody. It's finding the right window that's going to work for you. And in my experience, it's not being too fucking hard on yourself either. Like if you've decided that you're going to eat at 12 every day until 8 p.m. and then on Tuesday you go out for your friend's birthday for breakfast, and you're sitting there drinking black coffee and they're all eating eggs Benedict, you're going to just be moody as fuck. So you got to be like a little bit flexible with yourself, but it is a very, very effective strategy. And then there's all sorts of other benefits that come along with fasting as well. So that's just for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about.
I think just on that note as well, I've kind of going back to the every diet agrees with the same thing in regards to processed food. I've listened to a lot of different people talk on fasting. There's Dr. Walter Longo. He's one of the world's leading experts in longevity. And then there's, I can't remember his name. He's a keto guy. Mark, someone, kettlebell keto guy. There's a lot of these nutritionists and nutrition experts that all advocate intermittent fasting or fasting in general if you can practice it safely. I've just had a friend finish a 5-day fast, and 5-day water fast, and he said that he's the best he's ever felt. So obviously I don't know enough about it, but I do know that I've listened to enough people who are experts in the field who talk about fasting and the benefits of longevity, of life, autophagy, and getting rid of shitty blood cells and, you know, bad stuff in the body is just inflammation is reduced. There's just so many different things which are benefited by windows of fasting.
Yeah, and I fucking definitely agree with that. And I don't know enough to preach about it. But the book I just read, Unstoppable, he talks about it. I think he was talking to Dave Aspley, who's the guy from Bulletproof Coffee. I've heard heaps of Ben Greenfield's a guy I follow on Instagram. Do you follow him? He's a big advocate for it as well.
Don't follow him, but he's one of the leading guys in longevity as well, isn't he?
Definitely. So like he's a proper biohacker. Get into him, man. He's fucking mental. Like some of the shit he talks about. Like he's like sauna into cold ice plunging into sauna into like he does his inversion. Like he's got an inversion table and he hangs for 5 minutes every day. Like you should see some of the shit that he puts out. Like he's mental. But backs it all by science. So I think he says like the wisdom of the ancients with modern technology is sort of his sort of spin. But he's a huge advocate for it. But just in the without looking at the health benefits, just as a calorie management tool, it's brilliant. Fucking hugely powerful. Couple more people letting us know they're live. Kerry, who smashed out her very first beast at Spartan Oberon.
Nice.
Danielle, Brad, who already commented, Mikey, and Miranda, she's just said, I see it as inspiration be motivation. Inspiration comes from within. Motivation is often external, and that's why it passes. Yeah, definitely. It's motivation is very much reward based often. So you think, oh, if I work hard, I'm going to get this. And that's why I think it's fleeting. That's why carrot and stick is not the best way to like motivate employees. If you can find a way to intrinsically motivate them, your life will be much better. What
you can lead a horse to water, but
exactly. What do you do, man? What do you do when you're not running around barefoot in the mountains?
I fundraise for charity, so I'm currently working for an organisation which helps people with intellectual disabilities, autism and Down syndrome and those sorts of things. So been around for just over 70 years in New Zealand, but I've been in face-to-face marketing for 10 years now. And it's kind of just something that I keep going back to. I've sold everything apart from cars, specifically not cars.
I've sold heaps of cars. My dad owns a car.
Have you?
Yeah, legit.
All right, I won't say the reason I haven't gone into selling cars yet.
No, you can. You can.
Does your dad own a second-hand car?
He does, but he's very good. Well, I think I might have lost you there. Just 1 second, guys.
Lost you.
Yep, there we go.
Sorry, I lost you.
There we go. And look, Dad does own a second-hand car yard, but one thing I will say, his clients come back to him. So he's had like clients who've just come to him for like 20 years. He's the only honest car yard in Australia, I think.
The world,
probably the world.
No, no. I've sold real estate. I've sold accounting packages. I've sold insurance, which is probably one of the. I worked for UE Insurance for 6 months. That was actually probably the most fun I've ever had in a job. It was.
Wow.
You seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
Yeah, minus the dwarf throwing. That was pretty much what it was. I mean, we were closing deals while shooting each other with Nerf guns. It was brilliant.
Wow.
It was amazing. But yeah, no, I've done a lot of different things, and I kind of keep coming back to fundraising, and it's just rewarding. I mean, I don't work too many hours. Like I say, 25 to 30 hours a week. They absolutely love what I do. I raise enough money for them to be able to do what they do well, and I get paid a percentage of what I earn, and everybody wins. Everybody wins. So it's just, I love it, and I can't see myself stopping. It's something that pays the bread and butter and enables me to do what I love doing.
Yeah, obviously gives you a lot of freedom and flexibility, and gives you a bit of purpose too when you're doing. When I imagine when you're selling insurance compared to helping a charity, there's a bit of a different fire lit from within.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Mikey's just said motivation is low, but running on inspiration, not to give up. Matey, Mikey was volunteering out at Spartan. I think he's going to come down to Tourism maybe. Natalie's just said, has he done Enduro? Yeah, he was at 2019, ran 150 Ks. Did you place 5th or 6th?
Fifth, yeah.
Fifth.
Yeah. So I'll be back this year.
You'll be
That's
back.
the goal
You'll
anyway.
be back. Well, hasn't been confirmed yet. I'm hoping it gets confirmed shortly.
Has True Grit Enduro not been confirmed?
They're not selling tickets just yet.
Okay. I mean, I don't normally buy tickets until a couple of weeks before anyway. But
I'm the same. Lastminute.com.
Yeah.
So yeah, they I don't know whether I don't know anything. It's all speculation, but I imagine they're still waiting for something to line up or something to get confirmed.
Yeah.
Before they'll be selling tickets. But
well, if anybody, I suppose I could push another race over here. If for some reason it's not on, there's a race called Mount Difficulty Ascent.
Oh, that sounds fucking enjoyable.
It's on Mount Difficulty. So I'm in my bedroom. I actually look out onto Mount Difficulty, and the race director Terry Davis, so he's doing Northburn. He also organises this. It's a part of the Sky Race series.
Yeah.
But I think there is. I can't remember if there's 2,500 or 3,500 meters of gain in the first 18 kilometers.
They call that a ladder.
Just up and down the mountain, and then it just goes. So it's a bit of an obstacle race. It's climbing mountains. It's middle of June. Well, it's 6th of June, obviously. So there's often a bit of snow on the mountains, and
Wow.
so if anybody's prepped and ready to go for 24-hour enduro, but it doesn't happen, then let's get them over here and throw them on a mountain, see how they handle.
Awesome. Miranda's just said you should come and run the UTA in the Blue Mountains in May. So there's a 100k race there.
Those guys are too quick for me, eh?
They're fast. They're some fast dudes.
So I did 100k's in January. I tail ended it, to be fair, but it took me 19 and a half hours. And that same day they had a 100k race on, and I think Michael Hooks, is it? I can't remember his name exactly, but he ran like a 7-hour 100k or something, like a 4:30 per k pace, and I was just like
100 kilometers.
Yeah, I was like, nah. I need if you can find me a race in Australia which involves a lot of suffering, a lot of vert, a lot of obstacles, and some cold weather, I'm involved. But if it's a fast race, which I think UTA is, then I'm not running.
I like the obstacle racing because it slows the runners down. It gives me half a chance. When they're doing burpees, I'm just like, see us, and then they pass me again. But,
That's the word.
fucking hell. I went for a ride the other day. It was just a little light ride. It was after a race. I think it was after Philippines. We just went out on the mountain bikes. And I think we were just pedaling along like Domino. Like we were chatting while we were riding. And Strava logged it as a run. And it was like 3-minute 50Ks. And someone's like, oh, that's quick for you, Matt. And I was like, no, I was on a bike.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that fucking fast.
I was talking to a friend. She was saying that when the e-bikes all came out, they started taking a whole lot of FKTs on because the Strava didn't register between the difference between an e-bike and a normal bike.
Yeah.
And obviously now that they're clocked, they can't be unclocked. So those crowns, they're always there. It's unfortunate, but
Damn.
yeah.
How upset would you be?
Yeah, especially if you had like a solid crown over the Crown Ranges. I know it's one of the mountain ranges in New Zealand, but yeah. But no, definitely. If there's a race in Australia that's got a lot of suffering, send it my way, and I'll see what I can do with it.
Cool. I'll throw some feelers out. I'll see what I can see on my calendar. We'll get you over here for some carnage.
Probably Gold Coast for Gold Coast.
GC Ultra. It is.
September, sorry.
September 12th.
Yeah, I mean, there's a strong chance I'll be there.
Cool.
And then a couple of other races towards the end of the year that I got lined up, so
cool.
Should be good.
Cool. Do you, Matty Probes has just asked, do you ever get massively lost on your long races? Have you ever just gotten catastrophically fucking lost in the wilderness?
No, I haven't.
Really?
No, I'm probably going slow enough to not miss the signs.
Cool.
Like I say, I'm just a diesel engine. I just go slow but consistently. So
Sure. Cool. Are you?
I got lost on a shorter race in Queenstown. Took a wrong turn. It was a 12k race, and I did 14k's. I went a k off track, realised where I was, enjoyed the view for a minute, and turned around and ran back.
Cool.
So that was a bit disappointing.
You usually only do it once. Go the wrong way.
Yeah.
I've done it more than once because I'm an idiot. But there was a big race at I'm trying to think where it was. It might have been Sunny Coast. No, might have even been Gold Coast actually. Last year,
Yeah.
Spartan, and we came through. So the age cat took off, and you sort of ran up a bit of a hill, and then there was an aid station. And when you were coming up the hill, there were signs going right, and you sort of ran up and you did a big loop and did like a fetch boy fetch, and then you came down. It was like 4Ks of the course, maybe 3Ks, and then you came back down to the same aid station, and then you went under a cargo net. So everyone's just run through, like, I'm talking like fucking 80 people ran through, and the first person's obviously gone left and just gone straight under the cargo net, and just everyone followed.
Yeah.
Every single person fucking followed. And I'm like, I'm coming up to the aid station, I'm walking up to the aid station, like, and I'm looking at the signs, and I'm like, why is everyone going that way? And we're standing there, and then some other guy's like, yeah, I think we should be going that way. And we're like, all right, let's go that way. And 80 fucking people in front of us got DNF'd.
Oh, no.
But you only make that mistake once.
Yeah.
Watch the fucking signs. Keep your head up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
pay attention.
And if you walk, you never go the wrong way. That's my motto.
Exactly.
Do you wear tech? Are you a watch guy? I know you don't like fucking shoes, so.
So I used to be, which is funny actually, because I've got a couple of friends down here who are very adventurous people, and they're all like, "Oh no, not into the watches, all that sort of stuff." They're all going towards the watches now. I've taken mine off, and I'm just I'm out there.
You know what? I thought that would be your answer, just when you were talking about running and why you do it. And
like I used to be that way inclined, and obviously, like if I'm doing some speed sessions or something like that, and I'm trying to run a pace, or I do a lot of like my form of volunteering is tail ending or pacing. So as in like I'll pace a half marathon or something like that, go out and run a 1:45 half or something, and I'll wear my watch for that, just that I can watch the pace that I'm doing to make sure that I'm obviously going to help the people that I'm trying to help.
Yep.
And for example, I mean, this big weekend that I did a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to track my vert because my goal was 5,000 meters of vert. So if I set myself a specific goal, then I'll throw my watch on, and I just use a Spartan Sunto 3 Ambit Peak, I think it is. That tracks pretty well. But no, if I'm just going out for the hell of going out, then I don't track it.
How in tune is that? Because you've said obviously you run as a pacer. How in tune is that internal pacing system? Can you sort of at a trot be pretty close to what sort of pace you're running at a guess?
Reasonably, yeah. I mean, I can kind of, if I can go for a 6-minute K, and I can do a 5-minute K, and anything either side of that, and I've got really no idea what I'm doing, just probably because I've run so many 5 and 6-minute Ks.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool. And Mikey's just said, is it better not to know how far you've travelled in a long race? Like how much of that mental game is involved in not knowing the distance you've travelled?
So in a race, OCR Enduro, I don't think I didn't wear a watch. Toughest Australia, I didn't wear a watch. So it's quite funny actually. Toughest Australia, my first 2 laps I did with a watch. The Toughest Australia was 2018 in Brisbane. Did the first 2 laps with the watch on, and then it died. And I took it off, and my last, I can't remember how many laps I ran, it must have been 8 laps, I think it was. My last 6 laps were faster than my first 2, just because the problem with a watch, and I think it's so important to note if people do wear them, is that people really focus on a pace, and if they've got a goal time, and let's say for example northburn 30 hours, I think I need to run 14 minutes. No, it's 11 minutes per K. It's just under 6 Ks per hour. If I'm focusing on that and I'm climbing a mountain at 14 minutes per K, and I'm starting to overthink and freak out, I'm going to start working a little bit too hard and not actually register to the fact that going downhill is going to be a little bit quicker. So that's definitely something to take into consideration. Also with obstacles as well, obviously you can train as much as you want at a 6-minute pace, but as soon as you throw obstacles into a race, you're not going to run a 6-minute pace.
Or a fucking set of burpees if you fail one. That'll blow your pace right out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the key is to that question is to if you use a race, stay in tune with your heart rate and just to know what you're feeling.
Yep.
A lot of what I do is calculating how much time I've got and how much further I'm trying to go. But obviously, with obstacle courses, there's each lap has a certain amount of time, and my crew will always tell me my time. I never race for place until the last 3 or 4 hours. So, for example, enduro, I wasn't going for anything until the last 4 hours, and that's when I started to hunt Josh. Not Josh P, Josh Harvey.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Harvey.
Yep.
He was just in front of me, so I started to hunt him down a little bit. And ironically, that actually made me hit the wall a little bit as well. So it just goes to show, run your own race.
Yeah, but you sort of you do that at the finish line, don't you? Well, I guess 4 hours is the finish line in a 24-hour race.
24 hours.
But that's when you start. When you see the finish line at fucking parkrun, you dig a bit fucking deeper, don't you? Because you've only got to make it to fucking there. I'm sort of inclined to agree. I run, say, like the 12-hour enduro at Raw is one of my favourite races, and it's just a 7k, 60 obstacles. It's changed a little bit this year, but I do that with no watch. I don't think I ran a watch at the 24-hour enduro either, because then you run to your body. And you run to how well you feel, and you just run at the best pace you can manage. And then when you get into the pit, you're like, oh, that was fucking 20 minutes faster than I thought it was going to be. But if you go out on a lap and you're not that quick, you don't get that head game. You come into the pit and you go, fucking, that one wasn't so good. But you're going to smash a bit of nutrition, and you're going to go out feeling pretty good, and your sort of head's back in the game. So I think I wear a watch for set races. So like a Spartan Beast, I'll wear one. But like a lap style race, I wouldn't. Which is sort of I don't know, a weird distinction, but it works in my head. But thinking about it, like I was running my Apple Watch with just because I couldn't find my Garmin at the Beast at Oberon. I don't reckon I looked at it once while I was tracking.
Yeah.
So I was just trotting along.
Especially with obstacle dense races, they're so not inaccurate, but obstacle dense races are so different, And like you say, I mean, if you miss a spear and you're suddenly doing 30 burpees, I mean, it's a lot easier to throw a spear into a hay bale than it is to do 30 burpees, regardless of how good you are at throwing spears. If you land a spear, it's pretty beneficial for so many reasons as well, but. I mean, if you're thinking about that and you're freaking out about times and that sort of stuff, then it's just not going to be good for anyone.
Once you get in your head, once you start, like that's a trajectory that's hard to get off as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you're way off pace in a race, chances are pretty fucking high you're not going to get it back. But you can preserve the good shit that you still have. If you go down the path like I'm fucked, I'm not going to hit my target, you're probably going to go even further off your fucking target once you go down that line. So
just keep running the best that you can, and I reassess every lap. I reassess what I'm doing and what's happening and what I can do. So
it's awesome, mate. I think you should definitely do a hurricane heat. They're really, really amazing. I honestly think you just fucking love it, because they basically just get you out of your comfort zone and they just hold you there. And there's a bit of hazing, but it's a really good social thing. And you being who you are and optimistic, you'd be one of the guys who are just fucking great to do a hurricane with, because you almost enjoy the suffering. I'm quite the same. Like I quite enjoy it. Like people were there crawling through fucking shit, getting all cut up and complaining, and it's like, could be worse, could be doing burpees. And then they're like, we're doing burpees. It's like, fuck. but I still laugh about it,
You didn't help anyone.
Yeah. It's just about being happy, right? Could be worse. I could be fucking behind a desk.
Exactly.
Which I am, but you know what I mean.
I'm in bed.
With your tea. I need a tea.
Yeah. No, I got my tea. I'm out of tea. I might have to check out this Raw challenge, though. I've heard a couple of things about that. So, 12-hour heavy obstacle. It's good. See what I can do.
I actually did a live chat with Raw last week. I had the Raw challenge guys on. I'll tag you after. But I spoke to Raw and Dawson. They announced a few things. They're doing the first kids enduro. So they're running a kids endurance race.
What's that, an hour or?
No, like I think it's fucking pretty substantial. Like it might be
Really?
like 4 hours or something. Like,
Brilliant.
yeah, pretty savage. So
It's going to be a long time for a kid.
yeah, so yeah, it's yeah, it was pretty sick.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just a really, really, really fucking cool race, and you'll see your Lockie Danzies, your Elaine McKenzie's, your Josh P's, all smashing it out. So
Yeah.
come over, mate, get it done. It's in when is it? You know why I can fucking guarantee you're probably not going to be there, because it's the same weekend as Spartan New Zealand.
Oh, no, I'm there.
You're at Spartan New Zealand, or you're at Raw?
No.
Spartan New Zealand's only a super.
Yeah, no, there's not really any point.
That's a warm-up job for you.
So what weekend's that?
So that's July 20. Fuck, my eyes are getting bad. July 25th, I think.
Well, maybe I could make it.
Come over, mate. You got a place to stay.
That might be an idea. Sydney.
Newcastle.
Is it?
So little bit north of Sydney. I'll put you up, mate. You just gotta
Sweet.
You just gotta fucking canoe here, or however it is you're gonna get over, and you're sweet.
Probably swim. Ross Edgley, I've got him on my walls. So,
Cool. What's he wearing?
he not much.
He doesn't wear a shirt very often, that dude.
Yeah, would you though?
No, fuck no. I don't now, and I don't look like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it? He's just had a new book come out too. I've not read any of his shit. I've followed his socials for a while.
The Art of Resilience.
That's it.
Here is something actually. I wonder if I can change this. This is one of my walls. Can I switch the? There I can. Voila. So I've got the wall there. I don't know if that's going to throw it off a little bit.
Yeah.
With the old Wim Hof.
Yeah.
Matt Fraser, Rich Froning, Killian Jornet, Ross Edgley, Lou Jiajin. Yeah, a few people.
Yeah.
Obviously, the man, the legend, Ryan Atkins.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Some legends, and what I thought was a donut.
No, that's an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's a close up of an eye of a good friend of mine.
Yeah, cool. Is that your that's your idol wall?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just look up there and like going back to the different motivations and getting out of bed and kind of doing what I want each day. There's so many different sports on that wall that it's like, oh, do I want to run a 2-hour marathon, or do I want to do a 1-arm chin up, or do I want to swim around Great Britain, or do I want to sit in ice for a day? So whatever I feel like doing on the day, I can get some motivation from that.
Who's that Wim Hof sitting in the ice for a day? He's a bit of a lunatic.
I love.
All the best people are a little bit crazy.
Run up Everest or something like that, clean and jerk 200 kilos, whatever it is. I'll figure it out.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Mate, what's two pieces of advice that you've got for somebody who maybe isn't happy with where their life's at right now? Maybe they're not as active as they want to be. What's your two biggest pieces of advice?
One that I've kind of always gone back to is just daily gratitude. And I always feel a lot better when I set some daily gratitude. So my daily gratitude is very simple. It's just 3 things that I absolutely loved about the day before. 3 things that I'm super excited for today, and that's also kind of setting an intention for the day and setting some goals as well. So I mean, they don't have to be big, just small things. 3 things that I was excited about today were moving my body, finding 2 to 3 amazing donors, and there's actually 4. There was a meeting that I had this morning with Terry, the race director of Northburn, and then there was a meeting with you. So cool. Those are kind of 3 things that I was excited for today, or 4. And then 3 things I love about life, and they don't have to be exciting. They don't have to be big. Like I've literally just written coffee in that before. Just 3 things I love about life: just the freedom to do what I do, to move, whatever it is, my job. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
But just a daily gratitude, and I can write that down, and you can put that in the notes if you want.
I'd love to, mate. I'd love to. Send it across to me. I'll tag it in. It's something that I've just never been able to get to stick. for myself, and I do.
Yeah.
So I do what I call a little big rocks meeting with myself every day. So every morning. So basically, the idea of this is if you've got like say a vase, you can fit a couple of big rocks in, right? And then you can't fit any more big rocks in, and then you can sort of pour some gravel in, and it'll sort of go around the big rocks, and then you can pour your sand in. And then you can fill it up with sand. And the big rocks are the big things that you care about for the day. They're the things that are going to make you get further ahead. They're the things that are going to make you achieve things. They're the things that are going to take your business a bit further, or take your fitness a little bit further, or take your relationship further, whatever it is.
Yeah.
These are the things that are important, but they're very rarely urgent. You need to focus your attention on them, or they won't happen.
Yeah.
The gravel are the smaller tasks, the things that maybe have to get done day to day. And then the sand is like the fucking Facebook notifications, the messages, the phone calls, the distractions. And if you fill your fucking vase up with sand first, you can't put any of the other shit in.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what I do. I do it once a week with my accountability coach. We do a big rocks meeting. We work out what are the big things we have to do this week. But I do it with myself every day, which is what's my focus going to be. And it's sort of similar to what you said.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to add to that. There is one more thing that you can fit in that vase, and it's a beer.
Beer.
There's always room.
It's always room. Well, I drink non-alcoholic beers now. I think I just replace beers with lots of coffee.
Whatever it is, whatever your poison is, there's always room for one of them.
That's it. But I have read so much about, because I'm fucking huge on personal development and reading PD stuff. So many people are huge on the gratitude and actually making time for the gratitude and being thankful for things. And, I wasn't raised particularly religious. So, that's obviously something that religious people do a lot.
Yeah,
and
I wasn't either.
And I think that's sort of why I was sort of not for it for a while, because it was like the saying grace and saying thankful for things. And I sort of attributed that to the religious side of things that I'm just not really about that. But yeah, man, if you could let us know that little protocol that you do, that would be fucking awesome.
Just something simple, just whatever works for each individual person. It goes back to the diet and the training and everything like that. Everybody's so different, but if you can do something similar to it,
But it's interesting because I've said, give me two things that could really change someone's life, and that's one of them. Like it's obviously a big thing.
Yeah, I think so. The second thing would be to just try and inspire other people to be better versions of themselves, and that kind of forces you to be in a position to be the better version of yourself. And if you can't necessarily inspire somebody else to be a better version of themselves, at least try and overcome a couple of problems or a couple of things that you've got going on in your own life, and just tackle adversity, go forwards as opposed to trying to hide away. Every now and again you need to just have a hot shower or a hot bath and just sleep all day. Don't get me wrong, like everybody needs to do it occasionally, but not too often. And when shit's hitting the fan, just try and stay calm and keep moving through it.
Yeah, cool. Mate, I definitely I will chase you up for that gratitude thing, because that's that's awesome. What's your mate? I've kept you for a good while tonight. I think we've been talking for like an hour and a half.
I just get a good sleep.
Is there anything? I've got one question that I always end on, but before that, is there anything you want to plug? Is there anything you want to talk about while we've got a bit of screen time? Actually, you've
just
Merrill. You just announced they're clothing you.
Yeah, so I just had them come on board a couple of days ago, which I'm super happy with. They're just I love their ethos, you know what I mean? And I've kind of always loved their ethos. They're very nature's your playground, create your own trail, and they're going down so their hashtag is create your trail, create your own trail. And they're just going down the kind of happiness kind of vibe as well, and just spending as much time in nature and reconnecting with meaningful values and reconnecting with meaningful relationships and just living a good life, you know what I mean? So
awesome.
I've been wanting to work with them for 18 months, and we've finally kind of figured something out, and they've come on board, and they're putting a hat on my head and a shirt on my shirt and my body and a couple of jackets. I'm looking forward to wearing their stuff on the northburn and putting it.
Are they pissed that you don't wear shoes though? Like, is that a?
No, they're actually not.
Do they have like a barefoot range?
They do, yeah. My foot is unusually wide.
Mine too.
My podiatrist he's a barefoot guy, and he's like, your foot is designed for power. So I'm like, well, I'm not seeing it yet, but let's see if we can work on something there. So
Cool.
see if I can work on some speeds.
I've got wide feet too, man. I've played the try heaps of different shoes game for a long time now. But as soon as I run any sort of distance, they swell, and then I'm fucked. And they're sore.
Exactly.
So, cool. Anything else you want to plug?
No, that's pretty much it. Just check out my Instagram. I guess I'm going to start putting some more stuff up on there. I just bought a GoPro, so I'm going to start doing some videos and just
awesome.
Yeah, seeing if I can help people be better versions of themselves.
Awesome. And his Insta is Hardy Kiwi, Hardy_Kiwi.
That's the one. Yeah,
it is in the description of this video. If you wanna check him out, give him a follow. Very positive dude. He's always got some nice posts going up and some fucking beautiful shots of Queenstown and the mountains that you run on. So usually when I talk to people, I'm like, can you send me some photos? Because I need like a bit of marketing material to make a cover, and you've just sent me like 10, 15 awesome fucking photos. Usually I can't get one out of people. I couldn't work out which one of you I wanted to choose, because just some beautiful fucking country that you run in.
Well, I'm glad you've chosen the one.
Hey, fucking relax, Siri.
I'm glad you've chosen the one that I'm furthest away. You can't actually see my ugly mug, and you can see the mountains in the background, so that's perfect.
No, mate, they're good photos. They're good photos. And Adrian's just said, best live you've done yet, Matt. Mate, happy to hear that. And I knew this would be a good chat. I actually, usually when I go in, I prepare a bit of a script, and I didn't really today because I just knew it was going to flow. So it's cool. The last thing that I always leave people with, what's your funniest race fail? What's the fucking most hilarious thing you've had go wrong?
Have you seen it?
I don't believe so.
Oh, have you not? Okay, I need to send you the link. So, end of 2017. So, 2017 World's Toughest Mudder. I ran 85 miles, and it was cold. Like, it was very cold. There were a lot of people who were complaining.
Vegas?
Yeah. A lot of people were complaining about how tough the race was, and I'm like, it's World's Toughest Mudder. Like, it's not meant to be a walk in the park.
Yeah.
Anyway, had to take off I'm wearing a shorty swim run, had to take that off, had to put my shark skins on, and then the swim run over the top. And I think what happened was it was a bit tight, so my blood circulation got cut off to my legs, and my legs were like the same color as the wall behind me. Like, it was like a kind of pastel white. It was pretty horrific.
Right.
I thought I'd run in 5th place, so I was in the money, and I was like, woohoo! Like, my partner at the time was like, you need to sit down and just chill out and kind of have some water and some food. I was like, no, we're in the money. Like, let's celebrate, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Live interview, which is why it's on video, and I pass out cold.
Oh yeah.
Like, face in ground. My blood pressure was 80/60.
Oh fuck, that's low.
Yeah. So, I mean, watching the video, it's kind of horrific, and there's like a little bit of even though I'm still alive, there's still that kind of, that's a little bit, but I think that's my funniest race fail, is going so hard and committing so hard that I cut blood pressure off with my legs, so I passed out.
Yeah, wow. That's awesome. Definitely send me that link.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking hilarious, because you're not dead, right? Like, you've made a full recovery so we can laugh.
Yeah. So it took me a long time to recover from that race. It took me about a week. I had cold sweats. My face was all cut up. It's just
wow.
So that's probably my funniest race fail.
Man, awesome. And dude, thanks for the chat. This has been fucking amazing. You're a good dude. Give him a follow.
Thank you.
Hardy_Kiwi, and pumped to see how you go at Northburn in, what did you say, 10 days time? Not this weekend, the weekend after.
Saturday, yeah.
Cool. And mate, the offer stands. If you're coming over, let me know you got somewhere to stay.
Absolutely. Well, I'll probably be there for Enduro. Otherwise, Raw Challenge sounds like the next one to head up.
Cool. I might even be living Gold Coast. Planning to move. Planning to move up there pretty soon. So might be Gold Coast. I might be over there for work. Spartan Gold Coast.
Cool. Cool.
All right, buddy. You enjoy
Beautiful.
the rest of your night. Thanks for the chat.
Cheers, mate. It was good. Thank you.
See ya.
See you guys.